Well, hello everybody. How's the first day of the Mood been? Has it been good? Have you had fun? It is an absolute honor to be in front of so many of you again. For those of you who, I'm guessing a lot of you know me by now, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Marie and I am the Global Head of Product here at Moodle HQ. And I am joined here today by Emilio, Matt, and Brett. Do you recognize them? Yeah? Pretty good, huh? We just need Brett to let your hair out. There we go. And so we are here to share with you the Moodle product vision, do a little recap on that in case you haven't heard it before, and then also share the progress that we've made in delivering to it over the last 12 months. We are here representing the Moodle product team. 85 or so of us here at Moodle HQ, including software developers, UX designers, researchers, software testers, architects, all of whom together deliver the Moodle product suite, which includes two big product solutions, Moodle LMS and Moodle Workplace, two versions of our mobile app, and then some, because we also provide the service of branded Moodle mobile apps. One cloud-hosted solution where we host Moodle LMS in a simple form for small businesses as Moodle Cloud. And we also deliver a ton of community engagement activities, including this one, the MoodleMoot Global. And so before I move on to talk about all the product stuff, I do want us to take 1 second to thank my team, my beautiful, beautiful team who put this event together for all of us. Without the amazing efforts of the person who just walked in at the perfect time over there, Miss Jess and Floor and Sandra, we would not be here enjoying this wonderful event. So thank you guys. You do amazing things for us every year. We're so appreciative. Right, so Dan hinted at this before, but I do want to do a test and ask everyone, is this the first time you've heard the Moodle product vision? Who here has heard us talk about the Moodle product vision before? Right, okay, good. Because we launched it, as Dan said, 12 months ago in Barcelona. And since then, myself and a couple of the other members of the product team, we've been traveling around the world. I think we've been together to about 15 different moots, or presented remotely at least. And we've been sharing this vision with you. So if you've put your hand up, put them back up again, those who have heard it before, thank you very much. Keep it up if you actually remember what it is. Don't worry, it's not going to be a quiz. I'm not going to come and ask you. We don't expect you to remember. And so we are going to start this session with a little bit of a recap. Okay, so our product vision is inspired by a lot of different things, but three in particular are really important. The first one is Moodle's manifesto. You will have heard Scott say this morning that this manifesto is present on our website, but I want to read it out because I do think it's such an important part of who we are at Moodle. We believe that Moodle is a platform that is dedicated to empowering educators, trainers, and learners all around the world. Our goal is to create solutions that make learning accessible to everyone, regardless of their location or financial situation. We want to enable learners to receive personalized learning experiences with creative educational content, easily collaborate with teachers and peers globally, and achieve outstanding learning outcomes. Our aim is to cultivate a love for learning, fostering a community of lifelong learners who are equipped to succeed in our ever-changing world and active participants in making the world a better place. At Moodle, we envision a future where learning is truly a right and not a privilege, and where everyone has the opportunity to unlock their full potential. This manifesto is our why, and it grounds everything that we do in Moodle products. Our vision is also inspired by our development principles. These are the things that hold true no matter what we're creating at Moodle products. These Principles inform the really hard decisions that we sometimes have to make on the day-to-day when we are building Moodle solutions. The first principle is user focus. Basically, every change that we make in Moodle is designed to make the experience that our users have with our products better. And that means that sometimes we choose to potentially turn down community contributions if the user experience that that community contribution is bringing to Moodle isn't value accretive to the user. And that can be a little hard to say, sorry, what you've created is interesting, but it's too difficult to use, so we can't put it into the platform. The other principle is technical progress, and that is defining a steadfast commitment to continuing to improve the technology, the underlying technology that is driving the Moodle platform and the Moodle product solutions. It requires dedicated time and investment. It means that sometimes we have to take a little bit more time to deliver something because we want to be able to ensure that we're modernizing all of the code that sits behind the solutions that you see. And it's an investment in the future of Moodle. So we make no apologies for doing that because it's so very important for the long-term sustainability of our platform. The third principle is mindful change. We are incredibly conscious that there's millions of people who use Moodle every day for things that are actually now, especially after the pandemic, business critical. And so what we can't do when we release new versions of Moodle is release something that's going to break all of the ways that people work with Moodle today and not be appreciative of that potential impact. So when we make changes to Moodle, particularly significant ones, we are now going to do so in a very considered way, step by step, and providing people the time to adjust to these changes so that their businesses aren't affected by our need to continually evolve to meet the needs of our users. And then finally, the final principle is security, accessibility, and compliance to data regulations. For us at Moodle, those three things are non-negotiable. If we're not sure that something is secure, if we know for sure that we've created an accessibility issue in the platform by trying to implement something, or if we can't guarantee compliance to data regulation, we will not issue the new feature. And that can be a little challenging because sometimes we've worked really, really hard on something and we can't wait to give it to the world. And we have to say, actually, it's not ready. Because if it doesn't meet those three tests, it doesn't go out. And those things are really, really important for the sanctity and I think something about the integrity of our platform as well. Our Moodle product vision is also inspired by your feedback, our users' feedback. And at Moodle Product, we hear user feedback about 1,000 times a day. There are so many ways that people can provide us feedback on our product solution, and it's literally our jobs to listen to that and to translate that feedback into solutions that help people. And what we hear in all of the feedback that we hear about Moodle is there's kind of a lot of commonality actually in that feedback, and it kind of sits under three key themes. The first one is that feedback from users that say, now that I'm using Moodle for a while, I really like it and lets me do all sorts of really great stuff. But learning it up front is really, really hard, and there's still a few things that I have to do day to day that could really be simplified. So that's the number one piece of feedback that we hear about Moodle generally. And it is the feedback that applies to students and teachers and learning designers. So the vast majority of our users have that kind of sentiment. Once they get used to it, they love it, but it just takes a little bit too long. The second big piece of feedback that we hear is from our administrators, which say to us, listen, I really want to keep up to date with the new versions of Moodle. It's really important. You guys are always releasing really interesting things, but doing that migration, going from one version to the other, often takes us a lot of work because by definition, Moodle is extendable and customizable. So every time we upgrade or provide a new version of Moodle and somebody has to upgrade, they have to upgrade their extensions and their customizations. And there's sometimes a little bit too much work underneath that. And it limits their ability to keep up with the new innovations that we release in Moodle. And then finally, the third big piece of feedback is that people want a modern LMS. They want a modern LMS, they want an innovative LMS, and they want an LMS that's going to help them achieve their business and learning outcomes. And they expect that of Moodle, whether we're open source or not. We need to be the best LMS in the world. And that feedback comes through all of the pieces of feedback that we receive. And it's those 3 pieces of feedback that have inspired our 3 product vision development themes. And those themes are unlocking creativity, fostering collaboration, and optimizing outcomes. Under unlocking creativity, we are aiming to create a tool that people don't have to think about when they're using it. If you're a student, you don't want to have to think about the tool that you're using to learn when you're trying to learn something. It should be so intuitive that you don't really notice that you're using something and you're just focused on learning whatever it is that you have to learn. And the same with teachers. Teachers should be able to create whatever course that they really want to create and only be limited by their imaginations and not have to be forced or limited by the software that they use every day. And so that's one of our development theme, or our first development theme. How do we help our users unlock their creativity? The second one is fostering collaboration. And it's this recognition that Moodle is never alone in an educational or work learning ecosystem. It has to work better and very well with all of the tools that it needs to be integrated with. And we believe that we can do a better job in the future of making that happen for people. And then finally, optimizing outcomes. And this is where we reduce the barriers to success. Effectively, whether that's by making the platform easier to manage or run or maintain, making courses easier to administer, or providing new tools for learners so that they can optimize their learning outcomes. All of that work falls under the optimizing outcomes umbrella. So, those are the 3 key development themes. These themes are designed to help focus our development efforts and to ensure that we're delivering the most value out of the product solutions that we can. And we told you a year ago that those are the things that we were going to focus on, and I'm really, really proud to say that we have. Over the last 12 months, we have engaged with over 70 different stakeholder sessions to try and inform our thinking for the future development of the product solutions, and held over 300 UX sessions, whether they're research sessions or prototype testing sessions with our users. And all of that work has informed the work that we've done in the last 12 months and will inform the work that we're going to do in the next 12 months as well. And all of that learning and the stakeholder engagement and client and user feedback, well, it's fed into a lot of new changes that we've pumped across all of our Moodle product solutions. We've delivered over 2,000 new features, new improvements, and bug fixes across Moodle LMS, Workplace, and our mobile apps in the last 12 months. Of those 2,000 and so features, 412 of them have been contributed by our community and integrated into the core platform. That is a huge amount of value that the community has added to the Moodle core platform over the last 12 months, which is absolutely fantastic. And net, we've touched almost 1 million lines of code in the Moodle LMS platform alone, which if you think about the number of developers that actually work on that, that's a lot of lines of code per developer. So that's a lot of work that we've pumped through over the last 12 months. But very importantly, all that work has been focused on either honoring our principles or delivering to our development themes. And some examples of that, and these are just a few highlights. Firstly, we adhered to our principles in Moodle Workplace. And for the very first time ever, Moodle Workplace is now accredited for accessibility. That means that every single product in the Moodle product ecosystem is now ticked and registered as accessibly compliant. It's a huge milestone for us and a real demonstration of us adhering to those principles for our software development. We've also done a lot of work to unlock creativity in Moodle Workplace. For example, in the last year, we've released the new ability to be able to customized your start page in a much more innovative way, adding a lot of creativity to the way that people start their journey in Moodle Workplace. We've also done a lot of work to unlock creativity in Moodle LMS, and that has been a long journey over a number of different releases, where we have actually really almost transformed the course experience within the main course pages of any new course in Moodle LMS. That journey started with an optimization of our activity cards, which are now much slimmer and contain a lot more functionality in the activity card itself, making it a lot easier for teachers to manage their courses in an efficient way. We then continued that journey through a transformation of our icons, and we didn't just change our icons because we think they look better, they're also more useful, they contain more information in themselves, but very importantly, there's also more accessible. The colors that we use now have been tested for accessibility against color blindness, whereas our old colors didn't meet that requirement. And then finally, that journey to transform the course experience ended with the inclusion of sections and subsections, which were released in 4.5, providing learning designers and course creators the ability to create courses that are so much more intuitive to follow. A student can always know how their learning content matches with their learning outcomes, what they're supposed to do next in the course, and really can see in a very clear way how all of that content contributes to their learning. Our work on unlocking creativity didn't stop there. We also made things like our gradebook and our assignment submission process a lot more intuitive. There was a lot of things in the gradebook that when you used to look at it, you're like, I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to work. And we did so many different fixes over the last couple of releases, including providing the ability for students to view feedback directly from the gradebook, or for teachers to quickly grade directly in the little pop-up that comes out in the grade book, making their lives so much easier, because that's something, can you imagine as a teacher having to do that over and over again? Now you don't have to anymore, which is pretty good. And we've also improved the assignment submission page, which is one of the very first changes that we're making to assignment, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next few slides. Finally, so moving on to the second theme, facilitating collaboration. Well, we've done a lot of work in Workplace to ensure that Workplace is easier to integrate with external HR systems. Again, Workplace implementations are never implemented alone. They often have HR backend systems that they need to connect to, and we've now made it a lot easier for that to happen in Moodle Workplace. We've also added some new tools to facilitate collaboration within Moodle LMS. We've got a new direct integration for a group chat tool, as well as a new options for automated notifications, making sure that people get the right information at the right time in moments that really matter, like when an assignment is due in a few days. And then the final theme, optimizing outcomes. We've made some fairly significant improvements to our Moodle Workplace solution through launching the Moodle Workplace learning catalogs. The learning catalogs are completely transforming the way people can search, find, and access learning that is relevant to them. And we are continuing our journey to optimize the learning catalog. On November 5th, when we release Workplace 4.5, you'll see even further improvements to those that were released in 4.4, including things like automated price allocations and featured courses, and actually can't wait to see that come to life, Emilio. And then more optimizations on Moodle Workplace. People now have the ability to give each of their tenants a different domain URL. In the past, if you had one Moodle Workplace implementation, you had to have a similar URL, but now every tenant can have their own custom URL, adding a lot of efficiency in our multi-tenant Moodle Workplace implementations. And then finally, under optimizing outcomes, a pretty big one, which is the introduction of Moodle's new AI subsystem. Our new subsystem is something that's a little bit different. We call it AI Your Way, and it's providing all of our users the ability to use AI within a Moodle implementation, but do so within their own remit. They get to decide whether or not they use it, how much they use it, who they choose to connect to in terms of their AI back office provider, and get complete control as to what they do with it. How much gets logged, how much gets reported, how much data they get to share with they choose to share with other organizations. It's a really different approach to AI compared to our proprietary competitors, and we're really proud of how Moodle-y the approach that we've taken is. So that was what's happened over the last 12 months. It's a lot, right? I'm like tired just having to name all of that. And it's only a highlight reel. Like there was actually so much more. But I actually know you're probably all sitting there going, okay, we kind of knew that because we've been following along. What's going on in the future? And so to talk about the future, in a few minutes, I'm going to hand over to my naughty band of brothers over there who will tell you about the future of Moodle product solutions. But before I do, I will just want to highlight one thing, which is you are going to hear them talk about what's coming up in Moodle version 5.0, 5.1. And so, yes, we are moving away from the worlds of the 4 and moving to Moodle version 5.0, which is a bit of a thing, right? But if you've been following along, you might also notice that we've taken a different strategy to Moodle versioning over the last year, and we've sent out some notifications, but I do want to talk about it because I think it matters. And we are kind of evolving the way that we're versioning Moodle versions so that we can actually accelerate our pace of technical change and progress. So what that means is that every time we're going to release a new major version of Moodle, the version just before it will be a long-term support release. And thus the new major version will often contain some pretty fundamental technical changes. And that's on purpose so that we can evolve the modernity of our platform. But we also know that sometimes that means people need a little bit of time to get used to the new big back-end tech changes. So by having an LTS version be just the version prior, people can take their time, update what they need to update, and know that they'll be working on a supported version of Moodle for a while. So what you're going to see in terms of our presentations for things that are coming up in 5.0 and 5.1 is a little tech heavy, but that's done on purpose. It's done to protect the future of Moodle. It's also why it's probably a much better idea for them to tell you about it than me, because I probably would do a really bad job if I tried to explain it. And so we are going to get started with that now with Emilio, who's going to talk to us about Workplace.
Hello. So I'm Emilio Lozano, Head of Workplace Solutions from Spain. Hola a todos. So I always have cool pictures of myself at events, but I'm terrible at remembering to take them. So I just snap a last-minute picture from Mérida that you can see to fill the slide and put a random picture of myself in the Moodle party. So just heads up, if you see someone with a random costume in the party, it's probably me. So the first thing I want to talk about, because I'm not here to talk about me, obviously, is the learning catalog. I get very excited every time I talk about the catalog because it's been a major improvement in Workplace and it brings so many good things. So bringing on-demand learning to Moodle Workplace was a major milestone in 4.4. And since then, we've been improving the catalog to support it even better. In Workplace 4.5, we're adding some very cool features that Marie just mentioned, like the ability for L&D managers to create courses and recommend them, and to have a better way of managing the pricing in the courses, but that's present, and it's very exciting. If you want to know more about that, you can come to my presentation tomorrow. There's a lot of people here. You will fit in the room because it's the same room. And but now we're here to talk about the future. So what about the future? In Workplace 5, we're going to support one of the most used features in Workplace in the learning catalog, and that's programs. So supporting programs in the catalog is a major milestone for on-demand learning in Moodle Workplace, because before the catalog was introduced in 4.3, 83% of all Workplace sites use programs. This means that adding programs to the catalog will benefit to 4 out of 5 Moodle Workplace users when they all upgrade to 4.5, and that's huge. So to achieve this, we're going to introduce a completely new API to support allocation plugins in programs. We tried different approaches, but this is the best approach that we could find. And we're also going to implement core allocation plugins, which will allow learners to self-allocate and purchase programs. And once we have everything, we'll add programs to the catalog, and they will look like this. These are Figma prototypes, but this is very close to be reality. We're right now in the design phase. So adding programs to the catalog will enable organizations to offer not only courses, but entire learning itineraries or just bundle of courses to the learners. And this is very, very big because, as I said, most of the workplace sites use programs. And this will finally close the circle of the learning catalog because all existing and future functionality in Moodle Workplace will be even better once we support programs. So this is the first thing. Next up is multi-tenancy. So the next functionality that we're going to add in the short future is the centralized management of multi-tenant settings. I'm trying to explain this in a way that it doesn't sound very complicated. So around 65% of all Moodle Workplace sites across all versions use multi-tenancy, are multi-tenant. Some of them have a few tenants. There are a few that have tens or even hundreds of tenants. All these sites will benefit from having this improved multi-tenant settings management. Ultimately, multi-tenancy is about combining different Moodle sites into a single installation while ensuring that the users in each one of these Moodle sites have the same experience as if the sites were independent. But the admins can have a view of all that sites simultaneously. That's what makes multi-tenancy so good. So multi-site in Moodle LMS, site administration by design is not designed to support multiple configuration of the same thing at the site level because it is not needed in LMS because in a standalone context that's not needed. But in Moodle Workplace, where different companies can have their sites into the same installation in different tenants, that is very important. For example, let's say that you have an authentication plugin that you want that in each tenant, in that multi-tenant site for each company, it has a different configuration, so it connects to different endpoints. This is something that you can only do if the plugin supports multi-tenancy, and you are able to have a different configuration for each tenant. In fact, these two plugins are multi-tenant because we made it, but we had to do it with some ad hoc development, finding the right place where we put these things. So what we thought is that we had to centralize the management of all this to make it easy to find, for admin to find and configure tenant-specific settings, and to compare and edit all those settings across all tenants and define a way that those settings for plugin developers can be overridden. So with this, plugin developers will have a much easier way of making the plugins multi-tenant, and that includes ourselves. So as shown in the prototypes, as you can see, the admin will be able to see at a glance all the values for the same setting across different tenants and define a way on how this setting can be overridden. So this is, I hope I did explain in simple words. So last but definitely not least is visualization insights in Report Builder. The ability to add graphs to Report Builder and visualization has been one of the most requested features in Moodle Workplace with the PEG and by the users. And I'm sure that many people in this room will be very happy to know that we're actively working on this. We're at the end of the discovery phase, and during the discovery phase, we're looking into making easy to configure these visualizations for custom reports, or for users to add visualizations to their custom reports. We have looked into how the end users will visualize and work with these reports. How can we add these visual insights to the dashboard, which is super important in a super important request, because that's one of the biggest use cases that we have for this, and how we can export graphs. So we have examined all these aspects during the initial discovery, and now we're ready to start with the design process. So we expect that in Workplace 5, it will be the first Workplace release. We'll have some graphical reporting, and with a major part of it coming in 5.1. Yeah, and that's all from me. So I'm going to hand it over to... thank you.
Thanks, Emilio. That's a lot of stuff. And I got to say, Marie was a little bit cruel to us when we were doing this presentation. She's only given us 5 minutes and 4 slides, so it's like choosing your favorite child. We all know we have one, but we can't include everything. So we've got actually a lot of stuff coming up in the educational solutions area. And my teams have done some amazing job. Now, there's a lot of, as Marie said, there's a lot of back-end stuff. You know, some of these things may not be an immediate impact on users, but we'll go through them. Bootstrap 5 upgrade. So we're actually about to merge that in as soon as possible. So that will happen before Christmas. My teams have actually done a bunch of work in making it as compatible as possible and making some bridge code. Now, the reason why this is important is to keep the platform modern and keep the platform moving forward. It's really something that's going to make it easier for our developers long term, and we keep our app compatible with browsers as they move forward as well. So I think it's pretty exciting. It's going to be a lot of work, and we know we're going to have a lot of our clients and our users are going to have to adjust to this. So this is why we're doing it, as Marie said, we're doing it the 5.0 release, but we're merging it as soon as possible, so there's as much time for everyone to adjust. The LTI moved to core. So some of you may have seen the presentation that I helped with, the Turnitin presentation. Some other people have talked about LTI today as well. We're moving it from an activity into core. That's going to really let us unlock the full power of LTI. So we can do some really cool stuff with LTI right now, but this will then allow us LTI not just to be an activity, but to exist in the secondary navigation, to exist on the dashboard, to exist in the gradebook, to exist inside an assignment, all these other new places that we can leverage, to exist inside the editor. So now, you know, once we finish this piece of work, you'll be able to go into the editor and embed a Kaltura video, embed a Panopto video, or, you know, embed some other resource, you know, doing straight directly in the editor. So that's going to actually help people simplify the system, have less need for plugins for sort of some basic use cases, and actually make it a much more seamless experience for our students, which is going to be really great to see. Question bank improvements. I've really got to thank Tim Hunt, Luca Bosch, Antonio, and Thomas Korma, who have been working on this. They've actually brought a consortium of universities together. They've raised almost $1 million in funding to actually fund the work, which they've been getting done through Catalyst UK. This improvement's actually going to be really, really key. Question bank has always been problematic in trying to share across faculty and share across parts of the system. So this is moving it into a new restructuring question bank to make that sharing much more better, much easier, much more seamless, and it's going to mean that your users and your teachers are going to be able to collaborate much better. So I really got to thank the amount of work they've done on that. Again, we really want to get that merged as soon as possible. We've been working very, very hard with their team. We've been using our UXers and our integrators have been working very closely with them. Hopefully that will be merged within the next few weeks, maybe a month, and we'll be able to start seeing that come through. And I think that's going to be a really, really great improvement, and it's really indicative of what we're seeing the community contribute to core, which, you know, it's a way we can move forward quickly. Icon cleanups. Again, this may not sound like a big thing, but we have a lot of redundant icons. We have inconsistent icons, so we're doing a big piece of work to clean that up. And Sarah, who's here with us, there she is actually leading that project, which is really great. And that's going to, again, help us accelerate our development, help the UI be more consistent, help the UI look more modern for everyone. They're all the quick ones. Assignment improvements. So the assignment improvements, as Marie has already talked about, we've done a bunch of improvements around our submissions page. So once the student submits their assignment, the teacher needs to manage it. We've delivered a bunch of work there already. The next thing that we're tackling is the grader. The grader has some very old code, but what we really want to do is elevate that experience. So we're quite a way through the prototyping process. We've actually gone through 2 or 3 iterations of the prototypes. This is our second iteration, which is up here, and the team's currently working on the third one. Please feel free, these are Figma prototypes that you can go in and you can comment on. So please feel free to leave comments and give us some more feedback. The more input we get from everyone, the better. I'm really excited about this one. We're looking to see the first changes come through in 5.1. This is a very large piece of work. There'll be more coming through in 5.2. So again, this is one of the pieces of work where we're thinking not the next version, not just the version after, but we know this is going to be a substantial piece of work. So we're really planning out 2, 3, 4 versions now. And that's something that's actually making me really happy to be able to say, hey, I can take time and I can do this properly, and we can deliver something that the entire community can benefit from. The next, once we finish that piece of work, or the substantial piece of the grader, we'll be looking at doing the student submissions experience as well. So the student side, facing side of things. I had a really good focus group, a small focus group, but it was a very passionate focus group that gave us some really good feedback. And part of that we actually picked up, there were a couple of use cases that we were aware were being used, but were actually much more extensively used than we realized. So they were going to bring that into our development process and into our thinking about the designs and roll that into this work. So again, these opportunities we have at the Moot to have those conversations with you and find out how you're working help directly influence what we're doing right now. So I'm really glad I had that experience. The activity chooser revamp. So our activity chooser is, I'm sure you're very familiar with, is a little bit intimidating, particularly for new users. Now, this was a great piece of work from the PX team. They went out and did some research around this, and that was the feedback we had. We have lots of activities. We've got lots of ways of using Moodle. I don't know where to start. So one of my designers, Sabi's done a lot of work on this. And again, this is one we're going to thin slice so we can deliver in pieces. So we'll be looking at making the interface better, splitting things up into categories, making it searchable, then delivering filters. And as you'll notice on right-hand side, from your point of view, the help pages, because currently there's a help page there, but it's not particularly useful. That was the one piece of feedback we got very strongly. So we want to make them more visual. We want to make them more easily understandable as to what is this activity and why would I want to use it, and then link out to some more resources. So again, this will be something that will be delivered over a couple of iterations. The last one that I've chose to add to our list for today was Open Badges 3. And this is a little bit less of an obvious one as to why we would do Open Badges 3. Now, Open Badges 3 has just been ratified as a standard, I think it was October last year. We've done the initial investigation and we've delivered some cleanup to the existing code and workflows in 4.5. We're doing the UX and research design now. We're starting to do that, but again, that's something that's going to be taking 6 to 12 months to actually get through that. And then we'll start looking at actually implementing. That's going to require a complete refactor of the existing Open Badges 2.1, because Open Badges 3 also incorporates the comprehensive learner record standard. Now, as I said, it's less obvious why we would be doing this. The major reason that we're actually very interested in this is there are initiatives in Australia, in Europe, there's several national initiatives in, I think, Germany and a couple other countries, who are looking to actually build their own backpacks or their own blockchain applications so students can take their qualifications with them. Now, we want to be in a position to be able to take advantage of that for our students and our learners to say, take control of their own qualifications. That's going to be really, really powerful. The comprehensive learner record standard is also being adopted into the Open HR standard. So in the future, it's very likely that if you have these records for your students, they can use them to directly apply for jobs and pass that information directly to prospective employers. So this is not just about education, this is also about employability and making it easy for our students to move forward. So I think that's a really important one for us, even though it's not as obvious a use case as some of the other things that we're doing. So I would have liked to have talked about another 10 things, but obviously I'm out of my slides, and I'd like to hand on to Matt Porritt.
All right, lots of photos of me, lots of conferences. This is my 15th Moot, so it's always good to be here. So I'm the head of platform solutions, and my team looks after essentially what we call the core of LMS. So things like the core subsystems, the administration side of things, user management, security, integrations and APIs and all that sort of stuff. So that's the things that I'm going to be focused on in sort of my slides, and I'm aware I'm also keeping you between me and drinks, so I'll try and be quick. But I'm going to start by talking about the LMS administration experience and how we can improve outcomes for our admins and sort of give some time back to them. Now, the admin settings in Moodle have grown organically over the years, and their layout really sort of reflects the underlying code structure in LMS itself. So we wanted to know whether, if the current information architecture and the way that the admin settings are organised were meeting the needs of our admins. And to that end, we've done a whole bunch of research. We've done sort of several rounds of research over a few phases. And this has sort of included, understanding the workflows for both new and existing admins and the challenges that they face in doing their jobs. We've got to know the different groups of admins and how different admins fit into what they do in their roles and their organisations. And we also explored the if changes to the way that the admin settings could be categorised and displayed could be something that could help with LMS and its administration. And we really did learn a lot from that research, and we're now starting to put that into practice. And the first thing that we're going to action out of that research is, we're starting on that right now, is to improve the search functionality of the admin settings. And so basically, the ability to more easily find settings was something that was really featured strongly in that research and the outcomes. As well as just being able to find things, there was some strong feedback on being able to want for a better display of the settings that once you've searched for them, as well as better multi-language support for our administrators. There was a lot of feedback to find things that actually needed to search in English, even if that wasn't their first language and they had their Moodle translated. So, Moodle's used in sort of pretty much every spot and many, many languages around the world. So we really want to sort of improve that equity of access for our admins. And that sort of improving that search experience is going to improve things in the very short term. And that's going to also, in parallel, we're going to look at other changes such as categorization changes that I've mentioned. But we also need to be aware that we do need to be mindful when we're making changes to something like the admin settings. So the how we're doing that is going to be just as important as the what, and we are very aware of that as a change. Web services, so if you're not familiar with web services, they're the way in Moodle that external systems integrate with LMS. So things like your student management systems largely integrate via our web services. And over the last couple of versions of LMS, we've been sort of laying the foundation for what we're calling version 2 of our web services. And we're calling them version 2 for a couple of reasons. One, we're implementing API versioning. So when you use the new version 2, you actually get a V2 in the URL. But more importantly, we're calling them version 2 because they're just a complete rewrite and a complete architectural change under the hood of our web services. So the new version 2 are going to be properly RESTful. You're going to have proper HTTP status codes, proper return codes, proper verb usage, and actually keep using the word proper because they're proper web services in version 2. We're also going to be improving the discovery and documentation, the self-documentation of the web services. So around the documentation and discovery space, we'll be using the Open API 3.1 standard for documentation, and we're going to be introducing the Swagger UI. Now, Swagger is actually what's pictured on the slide there. If you're not familiar with the Swagger UI library, it's used in a bunch of applications, and it really helps with that endpoint discovery and self-documentation. So for those of you who are plugging multiple systems into LMS, you're going to have a familiar experience, and that's really going to save you time. From 5.0, we're going to be landing the first of the new web services via the API. And it's also just worth mentioning we're not getting rid of version 1 anytime soon. You've got to have plenty of time to migrate because, again, we're sort of that whole mindful change. But basically, the benefit is it's just going to be easier to integrate LMS with other parts of your learning ecosystem, giving you more ways to facilitate collaboration with your LMS. Now, lastly, but very, very much not least, is AI. Now, we've just released the AI subsystem, as Murray mentioned, in 4.5. We're already working on the next stuff. So just I suppose to not preempt too much of my talk tomorrow, but the way that we've tackled AI and LMS has really got sort of a couple of good things that are worth mentioning when we talk about the future. Firstly is flexibility and extensibility, and the features we've built around that allow for the AI-powered functionality to be leveraged across LMS. So in future versions of LMS, you can expect to see more tools to support teachers when they create and manage their courses and their learning activities. So things like automated help and automation when creating those activities and those courses, as well as more ways for students to use AI to support their learning activities, such things as like looking at automated content translation, for example. Another advantage, and Marie touched on this, is the way that we've implemented AI is that you're just not locked into one service or one provider. The AI space is really changing rapidly. The services that you're using for AI in your organizations now are not going to be the ones you're probably going to be using in 6 months. And we've understand that, and we've designed the AI support in the LMS to be basically, support many providers and, while still enforcing consistency for your users. And as we move into the future, you'll see more provider support and more ways to use AI in general. And tomorrow I do have a dedicated session where I'll be talking about the subsystem for a full 30 minutes as opposed to about what feels like 3.5 seconds. So please come along to that. But look, as Brett said, we release about 300 things every release. I talk about 3, barely, but I will pass back over to Marie, who's going to take us home.
So yes, a very, very fast whistle-stop tour of what's coming up on our roadmap across our Moodle Workplace and Moodle LMS solutions, which of course impact our Moodle mobile applications as well. So that was fast. There was already a lot, but it's actually not all. And we are also doing a lot to continue to contribute to the support that we provide our community. We are very proud to announce that we are going to be launching a new learning opportunity for Moodle administrators, which we've lovingly called our MAQ, the Moodle Administrator Qualification. It's going to be a program of work that will allow Moodle administrators all over the place to enhance their administration skills, allowing them to provide better Moodle user experiences for their users, and also obtaining a qualification that could help progress their careers or maybe get them that new dream job. So we will be launching that very, very soon. So please keep an eye out. If you are a Moodle administrator, this is something you're going to want to look at. And also we are launching a new way to support Moodle called fundmoodle.org. And actually this website is live right now. You can go and have a look if you like. And it is a new way where you can contribute financially to support Moodle product development. We get a lot of support from the community, but most of that support is in time. And some of us are quite time poor, but we might have a little bit of money to throw Moodle product development's way. And so through the Fund Moodle platform, you can choose to either fund all of the initiatives that are on our roadmap, or if there's one that you really, really like and you want to make sure it gets done and fast, you can put money directly to that initiative as well. So we invite you to visit fundmoodle.org, and if you would like to help support our future product development, please do so. So there is a lot more coming, and as the guys hinted, they were never able to cover it all in this Locknote presentation, but we have a few more sessions coming up tomorrow and Thursday that will give you the opportunity to hear a lot more about the future that's coming up in Moodle product. We've got, starting off with Emilio, then this is a really great one. I really invite you to go to this session at 12 noon tomorrow, hosted by Jess and Anna from our community team. Not only will they tell you more about the MAQ and the Fund Moodle platform, but they will also be celebrating our community heroes, the people who contribute so much to the Moodle ecosystem. So it should be a really, really great session. I encourage you to attend. Brett and Matt will be doing more presenting after that in the afternoon. And then on Thursday, if she ever makes it to Mérida, Mexico, because she has been so far delayed at least 48 hours, Francis Lepage, who is our head of Moodle Cloud, will be talking about one of the new features across Moodle Cloud platform, which is custom domains. Now, if I ask now, who in the room has heard about the Moodle product vision? Right? Okay, do you think you'll still remember it in 12 months? Probably not. And we are not expecting you to. One of the things that we have done recently is launch a new page on our Moodle.org platform where you can follow along with the delivery of our Moodle product vision. So if you follow that QR code, it will take you there now. You will see an articulation of the vision explaining what it is and some of the major deliverables that we are planning against it. You will be able to find videos that we issue every month or so about new developments that are coming coming up under the Moodle platform, delivered by our Moodle UX designers and Moodle developers themselves. We call those the showcase shorts, so watch and keep an eye out for those as well. And very, very importantly, you will find a call out at the very bottom of the page that is inviting you to help us shape the future of Moodle. And you can do that in two very meaningful ways. The first one is you can join the Moodle Experience Lab. Experience Lab members get called upon to help us with user research, testing of prototypes, and co-designing our solutions. It is a low-touch way to get involved in shaping the future of Moodle. You might have to dedicate an hour a year or something like that. But as we do new innovations, we reach out to the people who are in the Moodle Experience Lab and talk to them about their needs for Moodle in the future. And then the second one is something that's a little bit new, which is the new Moodle LMS Community Product Advisory Group. So again, if you go to the bottom of the new product page, click on the product advisory link, you can fill in a little form and apply to be part of our new community product advisory group. And that product advisory group will have an active role in shaping the Moodle LMS roadmap. You will be able to help us prioritize which features come next and help shape new ideas that you would like to see us add to the roadmap through this advisory group. We've always had ways where we did that differently. We do that now with our partners across Workplace and LMS, and we've used to work very closely with the MUA, but we really wanted to expand that voice of the user and provide more people the opportunity to help prioritize our roadmap, and this new PAG is going to help us do that. Now, before you go and click the link and go and subscribe for the PAG, I do want to say it's a little bit of hard work. We meet every 8 weeks. You've got homework to do. We're going to ask you to put some ideas, to prioritize 100 different ideas and try and pick the first one. So if you want to be a member of the PAG, be aware that you're going to need to put in a little bit of effort. It's not for everybody. If you want just the light touch help, go to the Moodle Experience Lab. Okay, and I guess, the reason why we wanted to create this product page and these ways that you can help in shaping the future of Moodle with us is because we often say this across Moodle products, but the reality is we don't build Moodle for us. And actually, we don't even build Moodle for you. The reality is that we all build Moodle together. And we are very much looking forward for the opportunity to keep building Moodle with you all for the next 12 months. Thank you very, very much for your time and attention. Now, we are officially over time, and I'm quite clear that we are standing between you and alcohol, but we can maybe take 1 or 2 catch questions. If you have a question, keep it short and sharp.
In the middle, Carlos, back there in the middle. You won.
So it's a very quick one. You had in the workplace this thing about Report Builder and a graphical visualization of the data. Report Builder is now in Core, so is that going to be available in Core too?
Is this turn on?
Yeah.
I knew somebody was going to ask for that. So no, it's not going to be in Core. It's an exclusive workplace feature, the visualizations.
No other further questions?
Thanks for the great presentation. 2 quick questions. Will you share the slide deck with us? And the second one, is the MUA dead?
I need a mic.
Yeah.
Yes, so we will, thank you. We will share the slide deck with you, and also, and this is true for most of the presentations at the Moot, the video recording of this will be available on YouTube very shortly, but you can have the slides as soon as I upload them to the event site, which I should have done about 3 weeks ago. And in terms of the MUA, that is a question for the MUA. They are still voting on that process. They are evaluating their options for the future. They asked us to do a few things to help support a transition away from the MUA should their members choose to do so. One of them was founding the Fun Moodle platform, and the other one was setting up the new PAG. And we've done both of those things, so now it's up to the members to decide whether or not they want to wrap up the MUA and merge into the broader community or continue their activities in a different way moving forward.
Thank you.
We're good. Thank you, everyone.